Right, we're live. You're muted, Lawrence.
So good morning, everybody. It is March 22, March 22nd. And as usual, our little mantra is the slaughterhouse of failure is not in our destiny. We shall persevere until we succeed. Of Mandino. Or if we do not persevere, the slaughterhouse of failure is in our destiny if we quit. Simple. The only way you can fail at this is to quit. So we were just thinking about timely subjects and what we could do to have a dialogue instead of monologues, which we normally do. We normally talk. Dan and I just talk every week, and we thought we'd just up it a bit. And considering that not everybody, but the people who really have worked hard and have earned a trip and earned an extra trip to Mexico, we thought, I wonder how people react to that. So we've got a couple of questions here, and we're going to pick at random. And if anybody wants to volunteer, of course, we will do that. Vince, I'm sure, will be one of our first volunteers. But so the question are, we've got a couple of questions. So when you hear about someone else's success, does this motivate you? And if so, how? Is it a fear of loss or the desire of success that motivates you? In other words, what is that spark that motivates us? Is it a fear of loss? Oh my God, I got to do this because I want to get left behind. Or, oh my God, what is it? There's an emotion there. We're trying to find out what that emotion is. I'm just going to add some of the questions, and then Dan, you can add to these if you like.
Sure.
Have you ever thought about hiring and firing yourself every day? This is what an entrepreneur does. Do you hire yourself or fire yourself every day? You got that accountability to yourself. Have you got an accountability partner? This is hugely important also. I'm just putting some questions in, and then we're going to pick some. Are you driven by success or survival? Are you okay because you're in the comfort zone of your mediocrity? Not suggesting anybody is, but I'm just saying. So, are you proud of yourself, your results? Do you feel proud of when somebody else does something well, somebody else achieves something? So those are just some questions to inspire. Dan, I don't know if you'd like to add some of that.
Yeah, I'll add a few things. So, before the started call, so many of you were on here a few minutes early, and you heard Jerry and Vince talking about Secretariat, and it kind of dovetails into what we're talking about today, which is why I love that conversation. They talked about how Secretariat's trainers were holding that horse back, and from being as fast or as good as it was, that horse was, they were saying that the trainer was holding it back from being the best that it could possibly be. And every single person on this call has this tremendous opportunity to be anything they want to be, and you have to consider, if you're not where you want to be, if you're not as successful as you want to be, if you don't have as much money as you want to have, if you don't live in the house you want to have, drive the car you want to drive, what is it that's holding you back? Right? Is it as Lawrence said, is it your fear of success? Is it your fear of failure? Is somebody else holding you back, as in the case of Secretariat? Is somebody not that you have in your life not see your full potential, and because of that they're holding you back? Are you holding yourself back because you're not seeing your full potential? Everybody on this call has the potential to do whatever they want to do, be whatever they want to be. You just have to have the right mindset about it and how you're going to get there. It comes through hard work. It comes through, like Lawrence said, having an accountability partner. have you ever thought about firing yourself? There's days when I wake up and I'm not as motivated as I should be. Um, but I still get up and I do my job. Why? Because I have people that are relying on me. I have, I'm the biggest cog in my company, right? And if I don't get up and start getting that engine running, who else is going to get that engine running? And if I don't do what I need to do, I have all these people relying on me to do what I need to do to be successful. That's going to help them be successful. And if I don't do those things, who's going to do it? Right. And so my motivation is making sure that I'm doing what I need to do to be successful, to help others be successful. And so, first I think you need to define for yourself, what is success for you? Success is different for everybody. Um, the 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 definition, the real definition of success is, reaching a goal um, reaching a
The, pro-
goal or,
the, the progressive realization of a worthy ideal.
there you go. So what is that worthy ideal for you? Is your measure of success money? Is your measure of success living in a big house? Is your level of success how many people you can help? You have to figure that out first. We talk about purpose. How you define success is part of your purpose, or it can be your purpose. So, Lawrence?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The thing is, and this is where we come to always ask, how well do you know yourself? And when things are going great, we all love each other, but when things are not, then we kind of then we get to know who we really are. So if we are not as successful as we hope to be at some time, how's your reaction? Do you throw your arms up and say, oh, geez, well, I did my best? Or did you really do your best? And what's next? What's the next step? So, this whole mindset, the calls on about mindset are all encompassing because everything we do in life has to do with mindset. Whether we're in sports, whether in business, whether we're in families, whether we're communities, whatever it is, health. So that's why we thought we'd ask a couple of questions that I mentioned. And then if somebody would like to comment on that, because we want to make this interactive. Every week, Dan and I talk to each other and we say, well, how did it go? Did anybody fall asleep? Did we have to rock the boat a little bit to wake everybody up? Because it's a tough thing to be able to just talk to people every week and hopefully get some positive reaction. We don't know. We don't get the feedback. So we thought we'd make this a little bit interchangeable. I mean, interactive. I don't know if anybody would like to volunteer first, or I think Vince is very grabby.
Hey, we were talking last night about this, so
Okay, go ahead,
a-
Vince.
and I think a lot of time it's correcting our philosophy. So we think success is reaching the top, but it's not. It's how high you bounce when you hit the bottom. And most people don't understand this bounce that we have to go through, that you think you're just going to go right up. But the hardest thing is you have to be responsible for picking yourself up. And most people don't treat this business like they do everything else in their life. I hear people all the time, oh, I can't be on the call because it's this birthday, or I'm doing this or that. But in that same retrospect, if it was their job and they had to work that night or show up to work, they'd be like, oh, I can't make it because of work. And it blows my mind how people will sacrifice their dream for someone else's
Yeah.
rule that's set over their life, but they don't make that same accountability for themselves. So they'll use whatever justifications going on in their life as an excuse to not do the business. But because they're accustomed to a job, it's like it's weird. People support people being in that. Like if you tell someone, hey, I've got to be on this call, it's my team, and they'll talk trash on you. Well, no, wait, we got this party or we're doing this or that. And they will talk you out of the thing that could actually give you the potential to fulfill that vision. And those same people in that same scenario, if you told them, oh, I can't go with y'all this weekend because I have to work, they'd be like, oh, we understand. And it just blows my mind how people will support your situation that will keep you where you are, that don't set you free, and immediately try to destroy any type of aspect of vision. It's the crabs in a bucket scenario. So the first thing is be conscious of what you're letting around. It's like sticks and stones can break your bones, but words will never hurt you is the biggest lie we were ever taught. We all still remember words that were said to us from our parents that maybe even passed away, that sometime you just sit in there and it lingerly finds its way to the forefront of your thought. And so that's where the workout part and the daily personal development and focus is so fundamental. And so it's like, since we all don't want the same things, I'm more of a nerd. I buy weird stuff. It's like, it's easy, make myself happy. I'm like, buy me a little toy. I'm like, woohoo. And so, you know, and I was talking to someone, we all don't want, it's the bottom that's crowded and this delusion. I was talking to someone yesterday. They said, is this a pyramid? I'm like, oh yeah, you're lucky. You finally get to start off at the top than the bottom. And I didn't know what to say to that. It's like, it's your posture of the situation. It's like, it's how you think. Is this one of those pyramids? Like, oh boy, aren't you lucky? It is. You finally get to start off at the top, not the bottom. And it's your posture of the situation. So,
It's your
and then
mindset. It's
your
your
mindset,
mindset. Yeah.
It's all about.
And then it's priorities. What are you prioritizing in your life to get what you want? A lot of people are willing to prioritize their job over, working for themselves, being an entrepreneur. They're making somebody else rich. They're making somebody else successful. The definition of success by Webster's is, a favorable or desired outcome.
and
What is that? What is that favorable or desired outcome that you want? You need to figure that out. That's part of your why. That's your measure of success. You need to figure that out.
And
there's a difference between wishful thinking and actual planning. So most people say, I know what I want. I'm like, no, you got wishful thinking. It's like, let me see your goals. Where do you have it written down? Where have you put this plan into place? And if you haven't written it down, like I found my dream board from back in the day that people say, why is your island such a big button? I was like, well, I found my old dream board. And basically the only thing that and this was from ages ago when I was young, dream. And the only thing I didn't get off the dang dream board, I found it years later, was my island. I got the Bottles of Go, the SLs, been on the Learjets, did the lifestyle. And I was like, wow, that's why it's my hot button. But this was like your vision board. Your mind thinks in pictures. A picture's worth 1,000 words. And if you don't have a list of well thought out defined goals, something that you can hold yourself accountable to for yourself, that's the only way you can do the things to make you do when you don't want to do it. When you're down on yourself, when you're thinking like, why am I doing this? If you don't have a little grip of goals and you can look at me, man, look at that island. Let me show y'all again. If that don't make y'all excited, there's something wrong with you. No, that's serious. I found this is from 20 years ago. And then I see it pop up in my island watcher, because I'm always watching to buy islands. And that's my hot button. I don't know what your hot button is. It doesn't have to be mine. But if you don't have something that when you go through this emotional drag where it's like, I have my written set of goals here to remind myself. I mean, if you have a goal to lose weight and you don't have it written down, you're going to go eat in the fridge in the middle of the night. But if you have that goal down, like, oh, I can't do that, because it's a continual subconscious reminder to yourself. But if you don't have it specifically written down with a visionary aspect to it, it's wishful thinking. I'm telling you, you won't do what you need to do when the time comes, because you'll have too many excuses. And another thing, as soon as you get an excuse, write it down. So at least you know why you're a failure in 5 years, and it's not someone else's fault. That's my thing. You got an excuse, write it down. At least you know.
Then also, Vince, you said, it's planning. Well, it's more than planning, it's executing, because the plan is fine, everything's nice, but you've got to execute it. And the other thing, the first thing that we always talk about when we interviewing people is, what do you want? If you know what you want, do you want to go? Who wants to go to Whistler? Put up your hand. Let's see. Anybody want to go to Whistler? Okay, we got a couple of people. The rest are all hiding. Okay, so what are you going to do to go there? Are you on track to do it? Have you got your accountability partner to do that? Do you have somebody that's going to be with you and say, okay, this week, what did we do? Have we done enough? What are we doing? Because not everybody is a self-starter. Not everybody is an entrepreneur that is capable of getting up in the morning and getting his or her act together. Some of us need to have a partner that does that. But even the best people, have to have an
workout partner.
Workout partner, yeah, when you're running or something like that. So
Lawrence, John has his hand up. I think he
has. Good. I was going to
ask
about that. I was going to ask anybody else because we're on that. Go ahead, John.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I just still want to go to Whistler. That's why I was up, but still, no, I'll chime in now. I just think you guys, I never fall asleep on these calls. never. It's great. But I think I just love to help people. I like to fulfill their potential, because we really never fulfill our potential. We only use about 10% of our brain's potential, they say. And, you got to learn how to be comfortable in the uncomfortable positions. and that kind of pressure is so important. It's kind of like the 2 minute drill. It's March Madness now, the basketball season, and that 2 minute drill where it's just like how people get nervous and who do you throw the ball to, and there's always that one person on that team that the ball goes to, and the defense knows it's going there, but they still take it and they still score. So you have to do that. And I like Dan's situation of planning out your day. I've been doing that now, tried on a regular basis, and then acting on it. And it's been very, very helpful that way. So just to, write down your goals and make those calls. And I've got, and I do that in my other business too. And that's been holding me back to really join this full out. Just those kind of situations. But I came across this thing in the internet. I'll just shut up then after this. Brian Tracy, who's a motivational speaker, and I've listened to him for a long time. He's got a thing called, Brian Tracy, Tracy, if you want to look it up, but the law of manifestation. And it's a great thing, his law of manifestation in this. It's a 7-step situation. And it's just an excellent way to go. So thanks, and everyone have a great Friday.
Awesome. Thanks for your comments, John. One thing I just want to quickly point out, what you said was, you keep lists and you put your goals together and things in your one business, and then you got into this business and you didn't do that. Why didn't you do that? I talk about it all the time. Success is transferable. Whatever you're doing to be successful in your other business, all you have to do is transfer those same skill sets and those same daily activities to this business or any other business that you decide to start. Right? It's like, why wouldn't you take those same things that made you successful in your other business and just transfer those over to this business or whatever other business it is that you want, or even your relationships in your daily life, your relationships with your family. We all treat our, people differently in our lives. We treat people differently that we work with. We tend to treat them maybe better than we do people that we interact with on a daily basis in our families. You have to start to think about that. Why am I doing that? Why would I not?
Because I like y'all better.
Yeah. Well, so, there's a reason for everything. Success is transferable. Utilize those things that you do on a daily basis to be successful and just incorporate them into whatever it is that you're doing.
And be consistent and disciplined. Those are the two main things. If you're doing something right, be consistent. Dr. Joe.
Good morning, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic call. I love it so far. Vince, you've got amazing pearls. I mean, I've heard so much of this stuff before, but the way you deliver it, the way you say it, and you're right. The mind does think in pictures. I remember when I wanted to drop the weight, I put a picture of my heaviest weight on top of the fridge in front of it before I opened up the fridge and on top of the chocolate. So I'm like, okay, you want to go ahead and eat the chocolate? That's what you're going to look like again. And my mind understood that really quick. I'm big on a call that Dan's done before, and that's standards. I believe everyone has a standard. And I think when you're introducing them to this business, or you have that heart-to-heart, elbow-to-elbow talk, or, come to Jesus moment that everyone, it's basically, what are your standards and are you happy with them? If a person is happy with their standards, let them be. If they're not happy with the standards, you ask them, what would you like your standards to be? And then the next question is, what are you willing to do? Like, if you want to go on a vacation, everybody wants to go on vacation. That's a silly question. What do you want? I want to go on vacation. I want to travel the world. I want to live in a nice house. I want to be the optimal weight. I want to have a loving marriage. Everybody wants that. The question really is what are you willing to do to get that? What are you willing to sacrifice? I started re-listening to The Ultimate Jim Rohn Library on Audible yesterday. And he basically said consistent self-discipline is the answer to success. Consistent, can't just show up and then not show up. Self, where you're accountable to yourself, and discipline is getting it done. There's work and there's play, and discipline is knowing the difference. And you're right, Dan, there are areas in your life that you've succeeded, and that progression towards a worthy goal. The key word is progression. You may not be where you want to be, but at least you're better than you were yesterday, last week, last month, or the year before. That's progress, not perfection. So if people don't beat themselves up and they move 1% or 0.5% forward every day, and they're doing something towards their worthy goal, and if they're not getting overwhelmed by doing too much, because the number one reason why people quit in this business or anything is because of overwhelm. But if you come up with a systematic way to do something a little chunk at a time, you know, Dan, you're a hiker, you're a mountain climber. We talked about this yesterday. There's no mountain we wouldn't be able to climb. If you do, I don't know the terminology with you guys, but if you did 1,000 feet of elevation a day, eventually you're going to get to the top. And it's the same here. If you take one step or 500 calories or 1,000 calories or being willing to go the extra mile, like Napoleon Hill says, eventually you'll be there. The question is, we all have the philosophy. We've heard it before. We can apply it. But the question is, do we have a plan to do that? And are we willing to hold ourselves accountable first to someone else? Like Lawrence said, you need a training partner, and then eventually to yourself. It's consistent self-discipline and calling yourself out. You know, I was spoken to Lawrence yesterday or the day before. I said, I wouldn't hire me. I'm a pain in the ass. I fly off the handle. I'm cranky. I'm a crybaby, and I want things done for me sometimes. I told him that. I got to change that. I got to be more self-sufficient. I got to be able to find the answers instead of asking for people for help. It's good to ask people for help, but you don't want to be too needy or clingy. That's annoying. Be the downline you'd want to have. Be the upline you'd want to have. That's really the answer. And be willing to do whatever it takes. If you're willing to do it, don't kid yourself. You know, don't say you want to lose the weight and then go pound the chocolate in the middle of the night. You're lying to yourself. Be circle, have integrity. So it's kind of all over the place, but that's what's great about this call. It's kind of a free association thing. I appreciate the format, and thanks for everything you guys do.
Thanks, Joe. Bruce Lee says long-term consistency trumps short-term intensity. That's Bruce Lee. Long
Absolutely.
consistency. Be consistent.
You know,
I think
people
I think
think
with no, go ahead, Joe. I was gonna say, I
No.
think the problem is that we have is most of us on the call, we become seasoned, and the way I always say the worst thing in this business is a seasoned person, because you lose the
You're right.
mindset of a new person. And the idea is to truly walk someone through this business. So one of the things I do a little different is I hands-on wherever you're at every step of the way. And you got to learn to praise people for every step of progress. I mean, the world just beats you down at every turn. And I mean, just, praise your team at every little thing, because your team's going to do half of what you do. And if you're not out doing exposures, you can't relate to what they're going through. And most
You're
people
right.
are wanting people to go do what they're not going through. So I know what my people are going through. I sent someone a picture yesterday. I have one of my ladies. She was pregnant, throwing up in the parking lot, and I'm still dragging her out door to door in the clinics. No, I don't take excuses. Like, do not give me a damn excuse. I don't care unless you're having the baby in the parking lot, we're going to walk in that door. And so, I mean, don't buy your team's excuses. And so a lot of people don't even know what they want. Most people are saying what they want out of just pre-programmed. Well, I'd love to have a nice house. Sure, I'd like that. Well, that's what everybody wants, but it's not really what they want. And if you don't take the time to get to know your people, where you could talk to them and that and remind them, it's not the junk that the society tells you what you want. It's always something different. If we all went through this call right now and I did try to dig in to get your why, most of us are not going to have the same why. That we all have a different passion. Now we're all using the same vehicle and the same principles for success, that will inevitably lead us to that final destination, but we all don't want the same thing. And if you can't clarify that, if everyone's just like the standard, oh yeah, of course I want the house and I want this. No, that's not what you really want. Let me ask you something. I mean, how much of your kids did you see? If they have kids, ask them how much time did they spend with their kids last year? Do you just show up, send them off to school and open the door? Find out there's something missing in each of our lives. And if it don't bring a tear to your heart, it's not going to make you do what you need to do. It's just, oh, well, yeah, of course I want the mansion, but not necessarily, we all want it, but that's not really what people truly want at the end of the day. It's freedom and lifestyle.
You glanced over something quickly. You rewarded the person for doing the behavior that was going to get them where they said they wanted to go. Why is reward important? Because it gives you serotonin, it gives you dopamine, it gives you we are creatures, like Atomic Habits. You have the cue, the craving, the response, and the reward, right? If you have the cue and you have the craving, and then you do the response, you have the reward, you reward yourself. Well, if the cue is seeing someone driving a nice car, having a nice house, or helping a lot of people, having a charity, that's wow, someone else. The craving is you want to do that. The response is to join this business and to do whatever it takes, and the reward is having that as well. If they're facing the rejection or going through the pain like you have the pregnant person do, and they go ahead and get you're rewarding them with the pat on the head and way to go, wow, you know, or even telling the story, you're recognizing them. That goes into the wiring that we have as human beings and as creatures. There you go. That's freaking awesome. Only you, Vince.
And this was
You
this was
rock,
right after
bro.
she was throwing up in the parking lot. Like, nah, we ain't done yet. Get over
You're
here.
no, we ain't done yet. That really looked good. A guy yelling at a woman, "We ain't done yet." She's already pregnant. That was good, Vince.
You know, but she's a
They're awesome.
superstar. She wants it. She had a new baby coming. She had a why, want to be a stay-at-home mom, wants to send her husband out to flight school. They have this whole plan, but I got to know their family, what was missing, the lifestyle that they want. So each time I have a talk, I always am able to remind people of where they're at and why they're doing this, because it'll get them where they want to be. But if you can't have that
Gotcha.
conversation with each person in your team, they're not going to take your call. But if
Yep.
they know you've invested in them and you know their why, and that's, you know, my big personal thing is to help people find their why. I can go bake whatever and do it. I mean, like I said, this is all I need to make me happy.
With an
Woohoo.
island.
But you know, that's simple. Well, the
Or the
island's
action
next, but
figure. The
that's it,
island
you
or the
know.
action figure, either one.
You know,
It's the same thing. I was close.
you know, well, the island's the big thing. That's what I haven't achieved on my goals. And that's why I say, you know what? No, who do I have to be? Who do I have to become to be that kind of person? Because people buy islands. And like Lawrence, you said, when you asked at the beginning of the call, what do you see when you see people's success? And most people are envious like that because you only do reasons for two things: benefit of gain or fear of loss. That's how advertising works. You know, oh, look, it's the Toyota-thon. They just bought a new Toyota. I need to go get a new Toyota. Or the sales ending on the 31st. You got to get there. Benefit of gain or fear of loss. That is what motivates people. So there is either something that's missing from their life, the fear of loss, or there's something for them to gain. Those are the motivating factors, and you got to know which personality type that is. And me, I'm just stupid. Like when I was a kid, I walked into my first mansion. I was like, wow, you mean people buy this? If you don't know how to dream, go buy a Rob Report. And if you don't know what a Rob Report is, if you were Elon Musk or Bill Gates, that's where these people shop. And there's something called incredibleadventures.com. You want to fly a MiG over Moscow? They'll rent you a MiG and you can fly over Moscow. You want to do this? You want to do whatever? I mean, you got to expand your vision like a 10x thinking that this is something beyond that. And so most people have lost their dream space. And I'm like a kid in a candy store. I'm just like, where most people are envious. And the first thing I learned that young is like, if you resent people that have success, success will never come to you, because subconsciously you resent the fact that you wouldn't want to be resented. I mean, if you look at someone like, hey, those people are evil, wrong. Well, subconsciously you will make yourself fail because you don't want people to look at you that way.
Well,
So
a lot
it's
of
not necessarily
people,
what you're thinking about, how you feel about the market.
Vince, a lot of people resent success because they don't think they can ever reach that level of success, you know, and that's something that's holding them back, right? You know, they don't, and when you measure success monetarily, and Yvette put a great comment in here, a lot of people like the idea of this business. They don't like the hustle, you know, because people aren't willing to work for a certain period of time without making money. And as entrepreneurs, you go through periods of time where you're not going to make any money. You're doing a lot of daily activity, but you're not making any money as an entrepreneur. I mean, I've always worked on commission only since I was 20 years old, commission only. If I don't kill, I don't eat, you know, and I like that because it motivates me. You know, somebody was telling me the other day, you know, they said somebody said to him, like, it was my brother, actually, he's in construction and he was doing a job at like a 25-year-old girl's house. She's like, I don't understand how you show up here at 8 o'clock every morning. You know, that's early. She's like, what motivates you? He's like, I've got bills to pay. You know, her parents are paying all of her bills. She's not motivated, and she'll never be motivated as long as her parents continue to pay all of her bills, because she doesn't understand what it is to be hungry. You know, and a lot of people, they resent success. They resent people that go out and they do what they need to do to be successful, whatever that means for you. My definitions of success, my first thing I want to do every day is do something to help somebody. You know, I don't care what it is. If it's an old lady carrying the groceries from the grocery store entrance out to her car, if it's holding the door for somebody and just smiling and having them smile back at me, you know, those are the things that I want to do first thing in my day. That's how I measure success. My level of success is making somebody else's day better. It's not how much money I make. It's not what things that I buy, because I don't buy expensive things. I don't work hard to buy expensive things. I work hard because I want to have experiences. And because I work hard and have more money, that allows me to have more experiences. You know, so what is your level of success? You know, if your level of success is just, if you're in this business just for the money, you're going to have a hard time hitting that because you're going to work for 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, 3 months, and maybe not make any money. And you're going to give up because you don't like the hustle. You're here for the money. If you love the hustle, you're going to be here in 3 months, even if you haven't made any money.
It's the vision.
So
It's
this
like I
was the
said, if
whole
you see
point of this was the whole
Mhm.
point of the call today, was to actually inspire people to think about what motivates you, so that we can really get to understand ourselves, introspect. When something happens and we look and we see, somebody having success, then we are either motivated or we're not. And if we are motivated, there is a time now when we can all look forward towards Whistler. There's no excuse for everybody on this call not to go to Whistler. Every single person on this call should be able to complete the requisites to go to Whistler.
And here's what we'll determine that and thinking about it's actually environment. Environment is the biggest key factor. And after they did Think and Grow Rich, this is a 20-year survey of the 500 wealthiest people on the planet. 20 years, there was 13 things they all had in common. And you know what the number one reason for failure was? After a 20-year survey of the 500 wealthiest people in the world, the number one cause of failure was friends and family. The number one. And so you have to be be aware of that conscious association around you. Who are you allowing around you, and how it affects you whether you realize it or not. And so people will easily take you out of their dreams because a person will always rain on your parade because they have no parade of their own. And you got to realize that. And this is your parade. This is your destiny. And if you don't have people in your environment that support you every way, honestly, just because they're family, I don't give a damn. You got to practice the law of disassociation. You got to get the people completely away from you. If they're not, there's a limited of time to run, and all you got to do is focus. And as soon as you make a direction, all the people, you'll find out who your friends are. You real quick, because you know what? Why would people try to steal your dreams? Go to your person right now and say your best friend and be like, man, I'm gonna buy me a Lamborghini. If they don't support your dream, you need to disassociate from that because they're going to destroy you in this business. You need to be around people that support you because it's hard enough as is. And the biggest thing you could do in this is association. Who do you associate? What do they do to you? And how do they make you feel after you get off the phone with them? And if you get off the phone and you're like, ugh, you got to end that call because that's going to destroy you. That's the biggest key factor in this or that. I could talk with Lawrence all day. Why? Because when we get off the phone, I always feel better than when I ended the call. Always. You never get off the call with Lawrence or probably Dan or any of y'all. You don't feel bad after a phone call. And are you that person in your people's lives? And if they ain't that person with you, man, you got to just, put them on mute for the day. And that's the best I could do. Get people out of your life. Trust me, when the money comes, they'll find their way back around.
Kelly wrote something I think is great. If you can't change people around you, change the people around you. That's brilliant. What you just said, Vince. People around you. If you can't change the people around you, change the people around you. I like that.
And I'll let people know up front. Nope. Real quick. You're off. Time is too precious, too precious. We only got this much time in the day, and you can't let some half-wit take that away from you.
We're a little over. Is anybody, thank you, Vince. Anybody else got
bless,
anything they want to add?
Hey, guys. I just want to say that I resonate with all of this and this whole 2, 3, 4 months. People ask me all the time on these calls, so how much money are you making now? And I mean, I don't beat around the bush because I just tell them, look, you got to be dedicated. You got to work hard. You've got to focus. And if you don't, you're not going to be successful. And I will tell you, I'm living proof. It's taking a while. I just placed a scanner yesterday. I have 5 or 6 of them pending. Couple people waiting on their income taxes. It's all coming to light, but it didn't happen overnight. And it was a huge leap of faith, but I had to do it. And it's all coming around now. And I knew it would, and it still will. And I'm going to continue. I'm actually on vacation, and I had 7 calls yesterday, and I have 6 scheduled today. So I'm doing it while I'm away. You have to stay dedicated.
That's what
Thank you,
entrepreneurs
guys.
do. That's what entrepreneurs do. They don't say, oh, I'm on vacation. I'm shutting the phone off for 7 days.
That's it.
That's what most people do. They say, oh, like Vince was talking about in the beginning. Oh, I've got to go to my work event tonight. I got to go to work. And people are like, okay, that's fine. But then when it comes to Farminex, they put that on the back burner and don't prioritize it. You're prioritizing what you need to do to be successful, whether you're on vacation or not. There's only so much time you can sit around on vacation and stare at the water, stare at the beach, or, I'm going on vacation next Thursday through Monday. I guarantee I'll be working. Guaranteed.
And just one other thing, Melanie, just to mention the difference between a linear income and what we're doing. I've got a distributor that I met 15 years ago, and she buys about $700 a month of products. Think about it. The average, let's say, when you get to your volumes, is about 30% for you. $700 a month sales, that's $200, approximately $210 a month, that is commission for you. In a year is $2,400. 10 years is $24,000. 15 years is another 12 there. So that's $36,000 that I've made from one person, just from having a subscription that has been going on for 15 years. I mean, seriously, that's a lot of money. Joe Scalia knows that. He actually was there when I got my Andrea Putz. So just saying, it's a
You gotta flip
long-term
that
thing.
question. So most people are trying to answer that. So what I'd say is someone asked me, well, how much money did you make? I ask them, well, how many hours did you work last week? Just ask them that. And they'll be like, oh, what do you mean? How many hours did you have to work? Did you have to work last week? Well, I'm doing this business so that in the future, I don't have someone telling me that I have to do what you're gonna have to do the rest of your life. So you answer a question with a question and flip it back around on them. Don't ever defend yourself. They're the ones that need what we have. And if you try to defend what you're saying, oh, how much money? If you haven't made any, be like, no, well, how many hours did you work last week? Well, get used to the rest of your life. See, I started this business because I found it was the only way that I was going to be able to buy back my time. So someone doesn't make me have to do what you had to do last week, that you're going to have to do the rest of your life. So let me ask you, which plan sounds better? Work the rest of your life or start a business to set yourself free? Well, great. What are you doing? I'll send your paperwork over. You got to learn to close them after that. But that's what I would do. I just flip it back on them, they're trying to make you feel stupid. You got to, that's the point of Egyptian, is that no, throw it back on them. You're the one working the job, not me. So anyway, it's just a little one-liner there.
That's funny. I say that all the time. I had one girl that I worked with and she's like, this is her exact words, girl, you're crazy to leave the job that you were making, the money you were making, to go do this business that's an MLM. And the other day she asked me, she said, how's your MLM job going? And I said, well, I don't know. How's your job going? I said, and I'm not talking to her anymore. I mean, I told her, I said, I don't know. How's your job going? I said, I'm going to Orlando for the week. I said, and then next week I'm going to the Keys for 2 weeks. And then I'm going to see my grandkids in Virginia for 2 weeks. The following week in my RV. And I said, what are you doing? And she says, well, I have a meeting here in an hour. I got to go. And I said, exactly. I said, exactly. And you're being told what to do, where to go, who you talk to, how many did you sell today? I said, and I'm having to do this all on my own. And I said, it's going to be 100% worth it, because one of these days, that salary I have.
Yeah, just tell them, like my mentor told me, you know why they ask them, you know why they call it a paycheck? Just ask her, oh, you get a paycheck? You know why they call it that? Because they pay to keep you in check.
And then they have,
True
you have to
story.
report everything that you did. You have to report everything you did all week long to your manager.
True
know?
story. So I could really resonate with what you guys were saying about how you got to put those people out of your life, because they do kind of drag you down.
Yep.
And,
That's the goal.
that's Frank Sinatra. What he talks about, Frank Sinatra says about massive success. The best revenge is massive success. And the greatest thing you could do is be like, and a year later, oh, you're still there? Oh, and a year later, oh, you're still there? It's always fun to go. The greatest joy is to go back and remind them that they still are where they are. That's what Jim Rohn says. You got to have a little revenge on your set of goals.
And you can print off those things. So let me just do that for you.
All right,
Good call,
everybody.
guys. Amazing, everybody. Let's.
Thank you.
Hey, the weekend does not mean you go off. While everyone else takes time off, this is your time to go to work. You're in business 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't delude yourself to that. So while the rest of the world takes the weekend off because this is their 3 days, this is your time to go into action because they're off. And this is when you can get them. So don't let the weekend, don't follow the trappings of the world. follow the trappings of success. So when these people go off, this is your time to go into action.
Good job. Agreed. Thank you. Thanks, Vince. Thanks, everybody. It's
God bless.
everybody.
Thanks,
massive
everyone.
success.
Have a
all the
great week.
time. Blessings to everybody. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Vince, and everybody who contributed.
Thank you.
Excellent call.
Thanks,
Great
everybody.
call, guys.
Thank you.
Great weekend.